it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, November 24th. So the moon is in Sagittarius all day. Of course, we just had our new moon in Sagittarius late yesterday evening, and we had Jupiter, the ruler over Sagittarius energy, go direct. So we're still very much in the new moon window, still very much adapting and adjusting to this forward motion. And of course, with the moon in Sag, we are a little bit unfocused, very scatterbrained because we're excited. We have big ideas. We have big thoughts, big feelings. We have big dreams. We are kind of, jumping from one thing to the next, really kind of focusing on futuristic wants, needs, and desires. And overall, this is a very optimistic, confident, positive type of energy. So there are 10 different aspects here today, and 9 of them involve the moon. The moon is going to make a very harmonious aspect with Saturn. Saturn, of course, the Lord of Karma, ruling over rules and responsibilities, ruling over systems and foundations and structures. The moon interacting with Saturn in this way is helping us to get a little bit grounded, which can be a problem in this Sagittarius energy because we're flying high. But this Saturn energy kicks in, grounds us out, brings us back down to earth, gives us a little bit more of a tunnel vision focused on what it is that we need to build in order to bring these big dreams to life. So we have an interesting aspect taking place here today because the moon is in Sag, Mercury is in Sag, Venus is in Sag, and the moon is going to come up to, bump into, sit next to, have a chat with both Venus and Mercury. So this is some fire on fire action. Again, a little bit manic if we're not careful, overwhelmingly excited, anticipating a shift, big ideas, big thoughts, big feelings, big breakthroughs. And because this Sag energy kind of aligns us with our higher self, with our intuition, with philosophical and maybe even religious types of beliefs, we're definitely on a quest for truth. We're on a quest for meaning. We're on a quest for purpose. We are actually kind of sitting with ourselves and recognizing the meaning in some of the experiences that we just had. Of course, recognizing that they were some, yes, very tough love life lessons, but in a spiritual sense, definitely triggering where it is that we had to end something in order for something new to begin. This positive energy, this confident, optimistic energy is triggering us to actually believe that things are going to get better. Things are going to work out. We have a lot of, I'm going to say, good vibes stirring in the mental plane, stirring in our heart space. And we are definitely leaning towards opening ourselves up to new experiences, learning new things, having these almost, I'm going to say, intricate, complex conversations and debate that kind of peels back the layers on other people's perspective, on other people's beliefs. And this is all really kind of working well together in order for us to kind of soundboard our thoughts and feelings, our big ideas off of other people. And of course, in that conversation, be open and receptive to having things triggered and activated within us that would put us on a different path, or at least open up our minds to doing things a little bit differently. Now, the moon is going to semi-square Pluto. This is a little bit of a tension point, a little bit of a conflict, but again, tension and conflict leads us to examine where it is that change is needed the most. Now, Pluto, he just stepped down off of his throne, out of his place of power. He was the ruler over Scorpio season. And of course, now Jupiter has taken over that very powerful throne aspect. Now, Pluto is all about transformation, and he highlights for us the pain and the trauma and the suffering of our experience in order to push us into our power, in order to push us into taking control over our lives. Many of us have felt very out of control over our lives as of recent, and that was because, of course, we were under the influence of eclipse energy. The new moon in Sag that we just had, it's not too late to listen to the astro forecast if you haven't done so. It's not too late to download your moon guide if you haven't done so. But this is a fresh, clean slate. It's at a 1 degree, and we are really trying to kind of push past the pain, the trauma, the tough love life lessons in order to have a breakthrough. If Scorpio season and eclipse season was the breakdown, then Sagittarius energy and season is the breakthrough. And right now we are interacting with Pluto in such a way that is pushing us to take a little bit more control over our lives. Now that eclipse season is over, we are in the driver's seat. Now we didn't have control over some of the things that happened to us. We can't fix them. We can't, undo them. But what we do have is the power and the control to make something good out of those bad situations, if you will. And this particular aspect is encouraging us to focus on, yes, the not so nice parts of our experience, but now infuse it with positivity, optimism, confidence, really believe that we can, overcome some of these challenges and obstacles and really step into a new place of authority in our lives in order to make sure that we are kind of redeeming ourselves, renewing our trust, renewing our faith within ourselves, within the universe's greater, grander plan, and actually in control of what it is that we make good out of all that was bad. The moon goes ahead and trines Chiron. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer and has been retrograde in Aries energy for quite some time. Now, this is helping us to rebrand ourselves, kind of re-identify who it is that we are as we kind of shed the layers of pain and trauma that we have become a little bit too attached to. They've become a little bit too important in the story of who it is that we are. And sometimes people are afraid to heal because they don't know who they would be without that particular pain and trauma and storyline, and that they have become a little bit too intertwined with. This is a good vibe. This is a good energy. This puts us in a very positive situation, foreseeing why certain things had to happen in order for us to grow, why certain situations had to happen to us in order to push us into our power. Now, because this Sag energy, again, attaches to our higher self, really in alignment with our intuition, very kind of based in philosophical concepts and beliefs, this is definitely going to put us in a position where we are thinking in a little bit more of a philosophical type of way. We are really aligning with the deeper meaning, the deeper purpose of life and its experiences. And from that, we are growing, we are healing, we are ready to move on. The moon goes ahead and bumps into the true node. And of course, the true node is our soul's path, our destiny point. And this particular interaction would suggest that there might be something coming at us at our outer realm, something that we don't have control over. Maybe it's information, maybe it's a person, maybe it's somebody acting a fool. Basically, there is an outside trigger and activation that is putting us in a situation to really question what it is that we're doing with ourselves, what path we're taking, and who it is that we are taking with us. Now, just because this is a little bit of a trigger and activation to make us question things, of course, we don't like feeling confused. We don't like feeling like we're being put on the spot as far as, re-examining our choices and our path forward. However, this is providing us with a lot of clarity. And we have to remember that for many, many weeks, we have been lacking clarity, and we have been begging for clarity and praying for clarity. And sometimes clarity comes in the form of recognizing what it is that we don't want, who it is that we do not want to have experiences with any longer, what path we do not want to take, what kind of storyline we do not want to be living. And of course, from that, we can create a beautiful framework on what it is that we do want, who it is that we do want to share our lives with, what kind of experiences we do want to have, and of course, what storyline we would be happy to live and play out. Mercury goes ahead and semi-squares Pluto. Let me just say, if the whole day up until this point was climbing up the ladder of positivity and optimism, really kind of believing that things are going to work out, that things are going to be good, this would be the point in time where we lose that faith, we lose that hope. And reason being, Mercury, who rules over the mental plane, rules over information, rules over communication is in Sagittarius energy. And in Sagittarius energy, we are looking for truth. We're speaking the truth. We want to find the truth. We are very blunt. There is no filter. If you need to remind yourself of what Mercury being in Sagittarius energy is all about, go ahead and re-listen to that astro forecast. This is a semi-square, a little bit of attention, a little bit of conflict with Pluto, the god of the underworld, who really does like to highlight for us the pain, the trauma, the suffering, what doesn't sit so well, the shadow elements of our experience. Now, this is going to put us in a situation where we are a little bit skeptical of people, places, ideas, plans. Whatever we got going on, whatever we were feeling pretty positive about, now we are questioning it. It's not a bad thing to question things, okay? Especially in this Sag energy, we tend to focus on the big picture and miss out on the smaller details. And of course, the magic is in the details. That's what gets pieced together in order to create the greater, grander picture. But what this is doing is adding a lot of mental stress. This is kind of triggering a little bit of paranoia, a little bit of worry. We might become a little bit obsessive over a certain topic or a certain theme or a certain person. We become a little bit fixated on what it is that we can't control, what it is that we don't have the answers to. And overall, we're just judging and kind of re-questioning ourselves, the people in our lives, the path, the ideas that we felt so inspired to actually pursue. The moon goes ahead, bumps into Uranus in such a way that would suggest that there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of, I'm going to say, triggering information coming in, a lot of inability to not see the greater, grander picture because we're getting cluster-effed in our mental plane here by Mercury and Pluto doing this dance. Now, Uranus energy, because it's a negative aspect, does kind of suggest that we might be receiving some not so nice information or details, or at least getting stuck in a mental narrative that is not doing us any favors. And because of this, we kind of clam up a little bit. We're a little bit rigid. We feel like we're putting the walls back up. We kind of want to step back. We want to isolate until we get our mind and our heart right. And of course, that can come off very standoffish to those that, of course, we are connecting to, that we're communicating with. There is this like urgency to kind of retreat and get our shit right again before we share our thoughts, our energy, our love, our presence with other people. Now, this negative funk doesn't last very long, and it's a good thing. And just remember that we're in Sagittarius energy, so any highs likely aren't going to last very long. Any lows likely aren't going to last very long. What we can kind of expect in Sag energy is the back and forth, the ups and downs, the constant highs and lows. And that is just to help us find a common middle ground. So the moon goes ahead and bumps into the true node in a positive way. Now, this would suggest, especially coming out of this mental cluster F in our thoughts and our feelings with Mercury and Pluto and then the moon and Uranus, what this is kind of suggesting is that that funk revealed a lot to us about what it is that we don't want. And we figured out from what it is that we don't want, what it is we do want. And the true node, which is our soul's point, our destiny's path, wants to get us in the right direction, on the right mission, with the right purpose. And it does kind of feel that we're having a breakthrough from this mini breakdown. We are starting to see the steps that we want to take, whether it be towards something or away from something. Either or is fine. Either or is a win. We're going to wrap the day up with the moon sextiling, which is a beautiful energy, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over our systems, our foundations, our structures, our roles and responsibilities. So this does kind of suggest that, and again, you may have noticed we started the day off with the moon making a positive interaction with Saturn. We're going to end the day off with an even better favorable harmonizing energy between the moon and Saturn. What this suggests is that we understand the plan. We understand what we need to do in order to build the bridge to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. We are recognizing the roles and the responsibilities, the storylines, the contracts that we've outgrown, that have been weighing us down, that we finally have brought to a sense of completion so that we can start jumping into new things. This is exciting. And even though Saturn, who typically wants to block us and restrict us and hold us back and make things go low and go slow, yes, he's providing us with a little bit of that energy, a little bit of that grounding energy. That's not a bad thing, because the Sag energy goes balls to the walls so freaking fast that sometimes we will misstep. Sometimes the foundation under our feet isn't strong enough to take as many big leaps as the Sag energy wants us to take and make. So the Saturn energy kicks in and says, okay, listen, I love this vibe. I love the positivity. I love the confidence. I love the big vision. I love the big dream. I love the big goal. But let's do it right. Let's slow the pace down. Let's manage the energy. Let's try our damnedest to focus on the first step. Okay. So the first step is taking that big vision, the big dream, the big goal, and then breaking it down into smaller, manageable pieces. And from that, we will be able to see the first step that we need to take from this moment moving forward to actually initiate the path that we want to be taking in order to reach our vision, our dream, and our goal.